step into his office, you'll find you are no longer in Generation 1, the world in which companies like Showfall Media exist, and where Hetch conducted his production of the social experiments. That tape has been ejected now. We all have been left with a dark screen and the reflection of our surroundings, the world outside of the show. After all, for something to be fictional, there has to be a reality somewhere. If only it were easier to tell where that might be. Well, welcome to Generation Zero, to the real story, the world of the founder and the origins of it all. Are you ready to hear it? Not yet? Don't you worry. You don't have to say goodbye forever. The founder's got you covered with something to make the transition a little smoother. He has a fondness for that generation after all, and it would be a waste to just toss it aside. Especially when a physical copy is a fantastic means of preservation. After its premiere, you could buy a copy of the Founder's Cut to revisit Generation 1 anytime on your very own VCR. It came with a few Easter eggs, such as a trailer for Color Compilation Reaction Part 2. It features a very alive Charlie, one you might find wandering the streets today. A lone survivor trying to make sense of what happened to him, when no one believes him. The tape was also specially designed to keep him, the less active, we'll say, hero, with us. Where would the authenticity, the craftsmanship of human emotions be if his spirit isn't there with every rewind? I may have heard a rumor that his heart is still beating or something too. The Founder's Cut VHS also gave us another opportunity to come together as an audience. For the next piece of the story, we had to open a door that required 4 keys hidden within the tapes. That is, 4 different VHS variants were embedded with either the letters BEG, INN, or ING, or a QR code appearing on the screen. When scanned, the code led to a new website called thefoundergame.com. It prompted visitors to enter a password made up of the remaining keys spelling out beginning. After 10,000 entries of the password, with the metaphorical theater seats being filled, the Founder's Game began. Now, spoiler warning from this point on, if you haven't played through the game yet or you didn't know it existed, pause this, open the game in another tab. I personally prefer the desktop laptop formatting and go through it at least once. It is an interactive, choose-your-own-adventure narrative with such a cool aesthetic and story, and it is absolutely worth experiencing firsthand without spoilers. Okay, are we good? Emotionally ruined? Awesome! That's what we're here for! The Founder's Game is played on a CRT-style TV, the same we've seen all throughout the series so far. The player awakes in a concrete room loosely attached to a wire. Before them stands the same style of door first teased back in March of 2023. Peering through, they catch a glimpse of a tall man in a black lab coat passing by. They leave and begin to wander through a seemingly endless hallway lined in identical doors. There are papers along the wall that you can't understand. Behind each door, a different sound emanates. Some scenes are strangely familiar. As you look through one window, you are met with the victim of T_2. They sit in front of a camera with a white box censoring their head, implying they have yet to be killed. Maybe this sets our time frame as sometime around February 2023 in real-world time. At the end of an impossibly long hallway, a man and several screens sit behind a lone wooden door, studying disturbing footage which he keeps replaying over and over. Unfortunately, you can't discern the footage before the door is blown shut and your fear encourages you to walk away. If the player chooses to stand still before exploring, however, they can hear the disembodied sounds of pistons and gears faintly against the silence. The chapter's routes converge as the player follows a misleading exit sign. Here, a familiar communal voting system is reintroduced. We could investigate the lab, or the door labeled Holding Cell B. The latter, winning the majority vote, led us to an enclosure with a mechanical monster at the start of Chapter 2. It can't seem to see us behind the glass, but many wondered if it had any connection to Generation 1's security monster. The player then approaches a red door, but just before opening it, they are knocked unconscious and awake once more, this time in front of the orb. Wait a second. The orb? Like this weird red thing? The one behind the dumpster and the other Generation Lost browser game that transported the hero, who we controlled, into the tape of Gen 1 before the show began, that may have distorted the world and served as a portal that ended everything? That prompted the existence of absolutely gorgeous designer fashion.
I'm this fuck-ass ball.
Surely we're not guiding another real person to their doom, right? Well, this story doesn't open up on a couch in a cabin. Rather, you find yourself awakening at a desk in a high school classroom for a new narrative. After school / Your name is Ben. A senior at LF High, you have made quite a name for yourself in the last 4 years. You've had many achievements on and off the field. A model student. The perfect life. Ben finds that he fell asleep during his last period class. Everyone has left for the day, stranding him with doodles of a robot on his biology notes. Instantly an interesting combination. Even more interesting, though, are the initials LF. If you remember, at the GenLost VidCon panel in 2023, Ranboo teased a graphic reading Generation Zero, The Story of Lost Field. Lost Field as a concept predates even Generation 1 as one of the first ideas Ranboo publicly brainstormed for the series. Although that title has yet to return, it may not be a stretch to theorize that Ben's school is in fact Lost Field High. Just a theory for now, though. Ben's not too concerned about being left behind, but he doesn't intend on staying long. He doesn't want his parents to think anything crazy has happened to him. Besides, it's unnaturally dark outside, his watch is broken, and the silence is unsettling. The smart thing to do would be to leave right away and go home. I mean, there's the word exit written in pure white bold text right in the middle of the screen, but like, exploring the school at night while it's empty sounds kinda sick. It would be a waste not to take that opportunity, right? Doesn't the audience want to explore this new world too? You can be reasonable and choose exit, but after doing it, you are immediately brought to the end of chapter voting screen. Are you just gonna miss out on all of that unseen content? Why not at least check out the bathroom first? Maybe make sure your hair isn't too messy after the nap. It's quite a crazy wall in there though, with etchings all over it, like a little crown, the Generation Lost symbol, and the word, or maybe name, Zero. More notably, there's your reflection, the same old you. But why go to the bathroom when you could check out the principal's office and get some leftover Halloween candy? The path tree does diverge at the locked office door though. As Ben tries to open it, the glass trophy case behind him shatters. Investigating leads to Ben having quite an existential but beautifully written moment. You can ignore the sound and try the door again, but still, the narration seems a little biased to get you to inspect the case. But a final persistent attempt causes the handle to snap off, allowing you inside. All of that effort wasn't for nothing. The principal's PC turns on. On its screen is a single file labeled 134532-8/13.mp3, or an MP3 from approximately 1:45 p.m. on August 13th. It causes the secretary's voice to play, albeit distorted, through the loudspeaker.
Hey, to the principal's office.
Ben doesn't think much of it, more worried about breaking the door or being caught, but this audio file is incredibly important. You may recall that at the end of the Founder's Cut, there is a post-credits conversation between someone referred to as Miss Rhodes and a presumed psychiatrist or therapist providing her with treatment. Rhodes, who asked to be called Zero, is undoubtedly the author of the journals in Chronicle Zero. I talked about it a bit more in my last video, so for a surface-level recap, Chronicle Zero was a story formatted through text posts on Twitter. It followed a high school student named Zero Rhodes, likely sometime around the 1990s, with each post serving as a journal entry. Much like other GenLost content, it also featured audience integration through polls. It's implied throughout that Zero went through a traumatic experience, an accident, which gained her a negative reputation. Someone named Mary, possibly the psychiatrist from the clip of the session, provided Zero with a journal to write down her thoughts. Her entries shift, however, from her frustrations in daily life to documentations of the strange, vivid dreams and supernatural experiences she begins to have. Zero is reluctant to use the journal at all, but someone changes her mind. Her best friend named Jay. Jay, a lover of the supernatural, is always written to be very goofy and supportive of Zero. In fact, on August 13th, Zero wrote about Jay. She fell asleep in class, had a weird dream, and woke up screaming, landing her in detention. Jay stood outside the door window, trying to be funny without getting caught. And Ben finds an audio file of someone named Jay being called to the principal's office on August 13th. I guess Jay got caught. Both take place within Generation Zero, but this could imply that the three of them attend the same school. I almost wonder if Zero's dream had anything to do with Ben's story. Unfortunately, even after his explorations or straight up choosing to leave, Ben is unable to just walk out of the door. A glitching figure called the Red One catches his attention instead, beckoning him to the end of the hallway. The audience is left to vote whether to follow it or run. Curiosity won, and Ben follows who I will refer to from now on as just Red through the hallways to a second exit. But the room begins to shake, Ben's senses fail him, and the lockers begin to spew a black substance before crashing together. Red vanishes, and Ben runs for his life as something rattles the door. The player investigates throughout for another exit or method of handling whatever is watching from outside. Red tries to help Ben out a science lab window, only to be replaced by a massive monster trying to grab him. Ben finds an exit past an amusement park set in the theater, but it is boarded up. Although not an exit, there is also the storage room where another familiar object lies. A fortune teller machine, which got its own solo video on the Genloss YouTube channel. It repeats the same dialogue spoken in said video, then after Ben presses the button, looks directly at you. Alright guys, I'm not a professional voice actor, bear with me here.
You know this will kill you. You're chasing someone else's dream. You are losing everything in the process. What is it all for? The hope of salvation, the hope to do what you believe you are meant to be doing. What is it that you even want anymore? Is this even for you? Who is this for? Answer me. Please.
You leave the room. As you make your way out, you hear the machine.
See you soon. Good luck.
All of that will come back later on. Ultimately, it's fleeing the lab which progresses the story, and you eventually meet the janitor. He fills sort of a fatherly archetype, providing Ben with much-needed exposition and a sense of safety. About once a week, he says, a monster tries to break into the high school. The janitor boards up and locks the doors and windows to keep him out, because in true American high school fashion, the city didn't want to do anything because of money and reputation reasons. Except the monster gets in, and it is bigger and stronger than the janitor anticipated, and he meets his demise trying to defend Ben as Chapter 4 opens. The player tries to help Ben escape once more through the gym, either by unblocking an exit barricaded with gym equipment, or by hiding under the bleachers. But it's an illusion of choice. Both options lead to Ben being discovered and violently killed by the monster. And then it's game over. Yet, Ben wakes up again in the same classroom perfectly fine. Nothing has changed. You almost forgot this was just a video game and you could just hit the respawn button. Although, I thought I said he was taking biology notes, not history ones. And your teacher definitely had a pet lizard, not a turtle. The lockers were blue, not purple. The pep rally posters are now for clubs. The bathroom sinks are sticky for some reason. The graffiti on the walls is different aside from the symbol. And oh my god, Ben, what the hell happened to your hair? The image of him is darker, a little bit lower quality too. Almost like all of the details have started to be distorted in this playthrough. Or dare I say copy. Like a tape going through generation loss. I guess you could call him generation loss! Yes, I'm gonna apologize for that one. In my defense, I thought it was funny. Anyway, who cares if he's disintegrating? We got more content! Yay! You can try to break into the suspiciously unfamiliar computer lab and ignore the narrator's pressure to leave. There you'll find a single active computer prompting a password entry, but you have nothing to enter. Or you can leave and stumble across the janitor's body in a pool of his own blood. You can run endlessly and find yourself dizzy in the dark, back where you started as if you weren't meant to make it that far. Some discoveries might confirm those suspicions. After wandering, you'll run into your history teacher who seems a little bit off. She's conveniently placed, but she won't answer your questions or take you seriously until the monster finds you. And whether you choose to hide or fight like the majority picked, you are killed at the start of Chapter 5. And you wake up in the same classroom, at the same desk, panicked and nauseous. There's a robot on your math notes. There are less desks around you. Your teacher has a pet python now, the lockers are orange, and your sense of deja vu is overwhelming. The eyes of your same old, yet fearful, distorted reflection in the mirror restore your memory. The janitor, your own deaths, you need to leave, but you're trapped in your classroom now. Hands burst through the windows reaching for you. No matter how many times you try to climb through the ceiling, the darkness where red silhouette watches you, you find yourself back where you started. The door is locked. That is, until a red blur flies by and lets you out. Once again, you aimlessly run through the halls, searching for an escape as the monster hunts you. Lockers upon lockers and posters for clubs that never existed. Your history teacher's mutilated corpse is stuffed in your locker. There's a red book you cannot open in the library. The exit you know to be real is a sealed wall. Trails of blood lead to a locked room labeled greenhouse. The science lab only gives you more questions. Still, the room is worth investigating. Atop the desk of some teacher you're unaware of is a book called String Theory and Parallel Universes. There's a storage closet in the room too. Inside sits a TV hooked up to a VCR surrounded by stacks of tapes. Their film has been ripped from the case, cut up, and stuck back together with adhesive tape. The desk and closet can only be investigated individually unless you replay the chapter, but they are without a doubt connected. TVs and VHS tapes are of course the main technology used by the founder to tell his stories. The tapes are presumably individual worlds such as that of Showfall, and the TVs are their hosts. If someone is messing around with VHS film while studying parallel universes, they have to know something about the founder's creations. At the very least, they are aware of the existence of multiple worlds being manipulated and or suspended within the tapes. I don't believe the setup was created by the founder himself, though. He always seems to take a backseat, serving as a director or writer, but never an actor. He'll employ someone like Hetch to create sets and play the villain. So whose room is this? Well, Red appears in the science lab too, heading straight for the desk. He frantically searches through books and papers for something and is too focused to notice you until Ben runs into something for like the 20th time and sprints out of there. He has every reason to be afraid, but notice how throughout the entire game so far, Red has never actively hurt Ben. If anything, the monster's horrible timing has only framed Red to be harmful. He seems to know the school surprisingly well and has helped Ben out more than once. It's interesting that his form is so ghostly as well, always glitching and being mostly a silhouette. Man, if only we got to see him in a more normal context. What? No way! Update from the GenLost BTS account. Look at this little guy with a hat and glasses just trying to eat his sandwich. He looks just like a teacher. We'll revisit that. Ben is still trapped, however, and rightfully pissed about the exit being fake. He's desperate to get out by any means. He finds himself at the shattered trophy case and picks up a shard, confident that dying is merely a reset button. The audience votes for him to keep going, though, to keep looking for another way out into Chapter 6, sparing him from a death at his own hands and maybe another level of distortion, too. But wandering only puts him back in the hall where he started, and where things are still just as broken, if not more, than before. And Ben is killed by the monster again. Now, you wake up on the floor with an opportunity to follow the monster into the greenhouse. Walking inside, it takes a second for your eyes to adjust to the dimly lit area, but when they do, you find a pair of lifeless eyes looking right back at you. The face is mangled and broken, but you know those eyes. You look around for more clues and find your jacket attached to a body that is nearly cut in half. You slip on your own blood and are pursued by the monster once more. No matter what room you choose, Ben is murdered in a gruesome scene, and his remains are dragged back to the greenhouse. There's something inorganic about the monster. It seems to be able to track you down like a robot. And even when alive, there's very little left of Ben. This time, when you wake up again, it won't be in the high school you know. You won't even be sure that it's real. It is as though you have been broken so many times beyond repair that you aren't even in the right world anymore. That or your perception of the world around you is not reality. It's not surprising, though. A person's body and psyche can only handle so much, and although Ben is a star football player, He is still just a 17 or 18-year-old kid. Despite the founder's obsession with infinity, all of his actors have a limit on the amount of times they can be unraveled and put back together again. It's possible Ben exceeded that threshold and it caused his reality to break entirely. He finds himself waking up in one of 5 locations: a hallway, in front of a mirror, in an arcade, in a forest, or at a carnival. The route you receive is randomly generated, with some paths being more rare than others. Compared to the first 3, the forest and carnival routes have non-sequential URLs. Not only does this emphasize something different about them, but I think they're the most interesting too. The school hallway is pretty straightforward, despite how it endlessly spirals ahead. An evacuation message repeats itself through a glitching intercom. Within the lockers, you just keep finding the same students and the same photos. A photo of 3, a photo of 2, a photo of 1. Repeating every single time. Could it be the founder back when he was younger, or some students he took in? Maybe Zero, Jay, and one of their friends? One idea I'm throwing out there without any super solid evidence is maybe Ben was the third person. Zero accidentally took his life in the accident, leaving just her and Jay, and then just Zero later on. Ben was popular and the school body loved him, so her taking his life, accident or not, gained her the negative reputation. Then Ben was repurposed by the founder. I'm honestly not sure how plausible this is again, but I'm just throwing it out, and it's my guess for now, I'd say. In the second route, mirrors cover every wall and surface like a maze. It's the same old you, but lots of you. They don't respond correctly, however, and you can see your form distorting before your eyes. It's as though you are dissolving away. One of them, the mirrors, has to be a door, you think, and you search until you are physically exhausted. The only way out is to shatter your reflection. The arcade seems pretty welcoming at first. It's filled with chiptune music, kids, and yet games you don't recognize at all. All of them have a horror theme too. There are disembodied eyes, creepy faces, and a missing poster. You try to ask for help, and no matter how hard you try to get someone's attention, you are unable to make yourself known. They only speak about the game. I keep playing this level over and over. Something has to give, right? That's an interesting quote. Maybe it's advice for the audience. One machine catches your attention. You walk to the machine and stop just short of its controls. Flashing on the screen is a missing poster above a press to start. You reach for a button, and as you start to press it, your vision goes black. The quiet of wherever you are is interrupted by a voice. This one isn't for you. Again, that same bolded white text. In the supposed fourth route, you're finally outside looking at the moon in a lifeless forest. The trees ahead of you in the graphic are almost glitching. The Genlaw symbol is etched into a tree, and there's a faint red glow in one direction. It leads you to a journal, also with a symbol on its cover, shoved into a tree. You just barely get to touch it. This one isn't for you. After all, you weren't the one who dreamed about a wreck in the forest or a symbol on a tree. That was Zero Rhodes on August 15th in her last entry before the account went silent. Maybe it was her car and body obscured by the static. Finally, you may find yourself at a carnival not too different from the set in your theater. There's nothing you can do or interact with no matter where you look here, though. Every game or ride is inaccessible. You can't even find the stars. But a familiar voice finds you from within a polished version of the fortune teller machine from before. Oh, but it's fine. You don't have to interact. You don't really have the time to press the button and listen to whatever monologue it wants to give, do you?
Oh, I think you do.
You stop in your tracks and turn back around.
I know you really do want to hear this, but I'm glad you explored your options.
The fortune teller stares blankly. So you, the player, likely hit the back arrow on your browser and try out the second option. You listen, and the fortune teller speaks.
He is the end and the beginning. Do you ever wonder why everything is happening like this? Or why this damn thing keeps appearing every single time? Or why everyone but me seems to just ignore this? It's not just that. It was never just that. You don't get it. This isn't for me or for you. It is for everyone here. This is important. What I do is finally important.
The figure springs to life again. Its familiar tone returns.
Nothing happened this time. Almost like you were meant to see this.
Your vision goes black. This one isn't for you. Are you paying attention? You, the player. Haven't we been here before? Games, glowing red orbs, protagonists searching for a way out, but the exit is never real. Is the creator of a false world a god or a monster? Does it matter? That symbol intrigues you and you are drawn to it. Are you any different than Hetch? He too loves a good story, so much so he named himself after that symbol of creation. You love the art, the tragedy, the show. You want to hear the story. So you test every option and do what you can to progress no matter the consequences. But those consequences are catching up to us. The 5 paths converge in a dark void. Random things float around you. Glass shards, lockers, leaves, coins. But we know where they came from. Before Ben can discern, he finds Red in front of him, beckoning him to follow once more. What else is there to do but go with him? Ben asks where they're going and hears no reply. But you can, if you choose to listen. Starting on page 6-11-0, the scene in the void, open up your Inspect Element tab. Look a little deeper. User Rainchirp on Twitter discovered that Red hasn't been ignoring us at all. Come, follow me. The figure leads you through the blinding darkness and debris. It apologizes to Ben. I'm sorry you got caught in this. I don't know if you can even hear me right now. Where is it leading you? Away from here. Out of here. The figure stops in front of a red orb. It looks familiar, but like nothing you've ever seen before. We're here. Ben joins his side. He is entranced by the orb, so much so he doesn't even realize how close he is to Red. Red, who doesn't try to hurt him, who is knowledgeable enough to lead this kid through an abyss, to find him in the school. Do you know what that means? Guys, he's real! Finally, we have someone who can give us the answers. Not a character following a script who knows only as much as they've been programmed to know. Someone who isn't with, or working under, or even controlled by the founder. Red, this savior character who tried on multiple occasions to help Ben escape the school, who found him at the end of 5 different hellscapes, is finally within our reach to contact back. And I say back because he has to be the interfering voice speaking to us before and all of the YouTube videos between the social experiments up to the game's launch. The faint text in the bottom corner of again, the person writing in T_3, which I know, scary red text, it's gotta be the founder, right? Not necessarily. Look at what he's saying. It's all the warning, a signal trying to reach us to figure out the founder's plan despite knowing we can't respond. The person is scared, like a regular human being would be. I don't know if it is aware of me. I have seen things that don't seem possible. I've seen people that there are no record of, but they must exist. I don't know if you can even see this, if this is even working. I need to show you what they have done. I don't know what it is for, but I will find a way to stop it. I have to. All while the screen glitches error. Red is a glitchy guy, and the messages that flash earlier in the video, run, leave, turn around, open, hide, etc. are all options in the Founders game. I get it. You're probably thinking that this is exactly what Hetch did. He pretended to hack into a broadcast, pretended to be a savior, and he was the one who led Ranboo's character to the orb. He killed him. How can we trust Red after that? Unless we could talk to him. But we can talk to him right here, right now, at the end of chapter 6 in front of the orb. Ben can either touch it or wait, and if he holds off for just a second, we, the audience, might actually have a shot at saving him with Red. Ben would likely ask something like, "Oh, what is this?" and we could dive into the code, hear Red's answer, and learn more about how to defeat the founder. We could know why this thing keeps showing up, what the fortune teller means. Maybe Red even knows what it is. It's the perfect chance. It's everything we've been waiting for. So surely, everyone in the fan base decided to vote not to touch the weird-ass magic meatball! 87% voted to touch it. There are bones in the teaser. I think that is a goddamn spine. And there's a cipher translating to look what you've done. Lovely! Chapter 7. We had to wait an extra week for this one. I don't blame the majority for giving in to their curiosity. The premise of this series runs on us always choosing to progress in the story. You put a glowing red object in front of someone and they're gonna want to poke it. I doubt most players even knew about the hidden messages in the source code. Still, knowing there could have been even the tiniest sliver of hope in some absolute best case scenario makes this chapter all the more dread-inducing. Is it comforting or worse to know we probably had no control anyway? You wake up in a large concrete room. A light fixture swings from the ceiling, although most of the lights are burnt out. You don't rub your eyes or check your notes, you simply look at a scratched up desk with a label reading Ben. You are unfamiliar with that name. Okay, no, hold on. Are we back where we started? Okay, we should check the source code again for a sign of red, because it doesn't just end like that, right? Well, you don't find him, but there is something else. Throughout the first pages of the chapter, hidden in the source code are all of the original scenes in the school. Except on the surface of the game, these detailed narrations are replaced with soulless robotic statements. If you choose to think, you literally stare at a wall and hear gears turning. Although a wire disconnects from your arm once more, you find that the classroom window is just a wooden frame and the word window written on it. The teacher's desk is also empty. The more you explore, the more everything falls apart. You enter the steel door labeled bathroom, but the mirror is also just a wooden frame. The same old you. A sparking mannequin is stuffed inside the singular functional locker with a dark liquid pooling beneath. Your history teacher, right? And that spewing black liquid? Left or right, every room is just concrete walls, dusty furniture, props, and objects incorrectly labeled with general terms. Door, window, exit. Was anything real, or was it all just a bunch of mannequins and robotic arms? That's all that deadly monster seems to be anyway. A tall mannequin with a geometric mask. How could you not see it? Because something is wrong with you. You catch a strange reflection, your own, in a door window as you move, and a message on a singular monitor in the computer lab. It reads stability 0%. Test failure. You don't react though, you just blindly follow this beeping sound throughout the hallways until you find two bright red reinforced doors. When you knock on them, it is a loud boom that echoes through the hallways. Damn, you got strong hands, I guess. Stronger than flesh anyway. Not the second time equally as loud. What is there to choose? You're coming in anyway, you hear a voice say from behind a door. You approach the doors and give them a slight push. They click in, then swing back out. The inside is dark. You slowly enter. The door slams shut behind you, submerging you in darkness. The founder will be with you shortly. And by shortly, it took this guy a week to get to his office. But yeah, I'll just introduce him or whatever. Chapter 8. 2 years since T_1, and the founder makes his first appearance being flirty as fuck. My dramatic opening to this video wasn't even me exaggerating. This guy is obsessed with us. What a loser. His entire monologues confirm that the letter in From the Desk of the Founder is from him to us. Congratulations, if you find him hot, you got a love letter, guys, you win. And who exactly are we in this context? You're you, wherever you are right now, doing whatever it is you're doing there. I can't answer that question for all of you. He's patronizing. Lovely. Dating simulator introduction aside, none of this game has been about Ben or his personal story. The founder says it himself. It all has been to get to know us better, to strengthen the connection so he can tell us the stories he really wants to, and so he can utilize us to help him achieve those means. We can preserve his creations in our world. That's what sets us apart from those he inducts as actors. We have an archive of YouTube videos and of course the founder's Cut VHS tape. Dramatically put, before our involvement, everything the founder made was taken, misconstrued, misused, degraded. Everything always becomes something else. It's just how it all works here. It's been an eternity of remembering things how they once were and never really understanding what they are now. I envy you for that reason. Enough about us. Who is he? I am the founder of everything you have seen and have yet to see. Okay, buddy. He says the details are too long and boring to actually elaborate on whatever the hell that means. The founder believes we are the real entertainment. Hetch did a good job, don't tell him that, but the founder likes the fun back and forth thing we have. Oh. What he means is he likes watching us scramble to make theories and engage with every inch of content. But you are fun to toy with from time to time. Dude, stop! Like, unless you're like a gorgeous woman or something, I mean, evil women in suits, I can allow it. But no, as far as I know, you're a William Afton child-killing robot builder-ass bitch, and I could play Minecraft parkour on that head, dude, because that's what it's shaped for. Connecting with us further on a technological and psychological sense helps the founder bridge the gap between his dreams and the reality he wants to build. But that takes time, both the creative process and getting to know us. He thinks of it like a gamble of sorts. Whether or not we're ready, he claims to be unsure of, but he's always trying to get us to come back for more with the promise of answers so long as we allow the connection to get stronger. It's how we enable him. We're not in danger, though, he assures, because we are one of his purposes. Not his one true purpose, though. Like, he can write us a letter and all that and be like, oh my god, guys, be my archive, please. But also, I have other priorities. But yeah, he wants to take care of us. We'll be spared. Okay, yeah, you want connection, I want some honest communication. Nonetheless, the founder aims to keep his upper hand. He's not afraid to break the fourth wall, calling himself out on big lore drops to expand the Gen Lost universe and get the community working to solve puzzles. Just thank God no one is enough of a nerd to go analyze it and put it into a YouTube video. You may not even be reading the sentence yourself. Someone might be reading it to you. How did he know? You know what? No, that's the final straw. You better be the founder of the $8,000 check I'm expecting on my desk tomorrow for giving you all of this advertisement and getting nothing in return. Just gotta finish this video for the people and it'll be fine. No matter how hard we try, we can't get ahead of him. He always knows more, holds more power. In fact, he can count on us as an endless power supply. None of this would exist without you, he says. It was our choice to watch and vote and progress the story. If we didn't interact, nothing would have happened. That third option always existed. Whether we sought to save the protagonist or just see how deep the rabbit hole goes, he's grateful for our participation. He holds the cards and we give them meaning. Except, I don't think the founder knows shit. At least not nearly as much as his deception suggests. The founder found his canvas, the tapes, but he had yet to determine which medium specifically worked best. He was still testing out different sets as they became accessible to him. Did oil paints or colored pencils or crayons work the best? Rather, media conglomerates, micro-celebrities, high-quality production values, each had their uses and could be added to his repertoire, but none were the missing piece. That is, until he found us, the perfect metaphorical set of paintbrushes to make his ideas and creations tangible, to really give them life. Something terrifyingly powerful and so precious to him, and yet so out of his hands. Even now, he's still experimenting. Everything leading up to this point has been research. It's been inaugural quizzes, social experiments, simulations, all to learn more about us and what the founder can and can't do without our presence. He doesn't know his limits yet. Everything is an act. If he can convince us that he's omnipotent and we're destined to follow his lead, that we want to, he can get all of the info he needs without us even realizing we're giving it up. But just like with any medium, he still needs to understand how to use us to effectively communicate his ideas. We hold a lot of power in that way. The founder admits it himself. Again, if we had not interacted with the game at all, none of the events within it would have occurred. But of course, that inaction is not that simple. He is clearly manipulative and feeds off our love for stories in a world where it's all fictional. Not to mention we are being misled and deceived every step of the way. But if we did manage to stop engaging, he'd be scrambling to build a new foundation. He needs us, otherwise he'll be stuck trying and failing to build something beautiful that will never hold. We get to ask him the questions in Chapter 9, and he gives plenty of cryptic answers in return. He explains Generation 1's purpose in pulling us in, that the hero's remains are preserved in one way or another, and not telling us where Miss Rhodes might be quite yet. You can tell that he loves the attention and talking about his work. He explains that it's the good kind of unpredictable that inspires him. A silly analogy might be a static YouTube comment section versus a live Twitch chat he can bounce off of. In a way, the content creates itself. But he still has to keep us in check because too much chaos and he loses control. And not even the founder can maintain perfect composure at all times. The audience's last question was about a password. Remember the computer lab from Chapter 4? The founder claims to have no clue what we're talking about and expresses that before he's interrupted by familiar white text. It's not you, the player, or the founder, but someone else in the room. Oh, you aren't supposed to... Where am I? Who are you? The first admission of something going wrong. See, this is what happens sometimes. You run them through the same thing and He tries to act like he has control over the situation. Why is my voice different? The founder tries to calm them down, but their panicking overwhelms his attempts. I apologize for this. You weren't supposed to wake like this. You weren't supposed to wake at all. He admits he doesn't understand how he lost control. This is the bad unpredictability, dare I say. Still, the founder ignores the white text begging, why he can't move, why he sounds different, what happened to him. The founder only cares about us. We're something more, something special, indisposable, unlike his failed creations. And those who are not so fortunate? And that's how it ends. Another kid turned robotic monstrosity at our hands, given mercy only through death. Real death, this time. In his last truly conscious moments, Ben didn't even have control over his own body. There was no other way out. Except it's still not over. That's right, there's more! A week after this chapter's launch, there was a little update to Chapter 9. The founder didn't know the password, but the bolded red letters in his dialogue certainly do. CANYOUHEARME. Can you hear me? It's none other than Red again! Aw, this guy's so awesome. I love him. Alright, what's he got to say for us? Ben, if you can still understand me, I'm sorry I didn't find you sooner. You won't be forgotten. The connection seems to be closing. I don't know if anyone can hear me. If you can, I have only this message. I know what you're doing. I know you are out there. I don't know if you're receiving this, but I know that you have something to do with this. I will find everything you have done and have yet to do. I will fight until I die for those you have yet to find. The computer abruptly shuts off. You turn around to leave, almost involuntarily. The hallway is dark, only illuminated by the small amount of moonlight coming through the door windows, and the red exit sign at the end of the hallway. You should go to the exit and find your way home. The founder points out how none of our questions had to do with the ethics of his work. You might say it's obvious he's not a good guy, so there's no point in bringing it up. You might assume, too, that Red is talking to the founder here. It's his threat to stop him. Everything that I have done and have yet to do is a direct quote from Chapter 8. It's the Founder's rhetoric Red seems to be imitating. And yet, is it the Founder getting this broadcast, or is it us? Hetch's title in the social experiments was the Savior, much like Sneak was the Taken, Charlie the Spirit, and Ranboo the Hero. The anniversary post switched up some of these titles, like Sneak now being the Friend and Hetch the Overseer. If there were a character, however, who should take that title of Savior, it is Red. Maybe Hetch knew of him somehow, hence why he copied his tactics and falsely took on the role. But Red shouldn't have a show title. If I'm right in putting the puzzle pieces together, Red was just a science teacher once. He had his own classroom, loved teaching, cared a lot about the kids he looked after in his class period. He did everything in his power to try to get Ben out, even after realizing it was too late to get him home, and watching the Founder take another. Even so, he created a setup like a TV and an amalgamation of tapes taped together to build his own portal to interfere with Ben's simulation. If Red couldn't lead him to the exit, he'd at least help him rest. He tried his best to protect the kid, unlocking doorways, leading him through the dark. He found him at the end of every pathway and guided him to the closest thing to freedom. It wasn't a happy ending, but he knew death was kinder than the cruelty of the Founder's story. Red led Ben to the orb. After touching it, Ben would exit the fabricated world and be returned to what was left of his physical body, a skeleton anchored to cameras and mechanics that would serve as a vessel to explore a pre-designed set. He would wake up, truly this time, and speak for himself, not just clues in white text of what he wanted, to go home, or a narrator speaking for him. It wasn't his own voice, but he was loud enough to break the Founder's facade. The only way to maintain control was to put Ben to rest, so that's what the Founder did, freeing him in the end thanks to Red. So is Red speaking to the Founder? Maybe, but he's talking to us too. The Founder is behind the screen, behind the source code. He can't read it, but we can. Willingly or not, we are helping the Founder take victims and push them past what their humanity can handle. We have a part in this. Even though many of us tried to save Ben by picking the right choices, our engagement only sustained his hellscape. What do we do then? Do we just walk away and let the Founder's creations fade into obscurity? That wouldn't stop him. Surely he'd still find someone to be his audience. Besides, the heart of the facility still beats. Charlie wanders the streets in a body that is hardly his own anymore. The puzzler, being an older model, would have malfunctioned over time, if not exploded. Chances are Ben was a test subject to create the technology of Generation 1. Zero is also still a target of the Founder. Machines like security exist, like those in the holding cell in Lab 2. We are in too deep now to back out. The question remains, though, if investigating is our only way to learn more, do the ends justify the means? If Zero is the next to die, is her sacrifice worth it? If Red does what he claims to do, he will be working against us to save her. If we have the same goal, how do we know how to convey that? Especially when the only way we can reach Red is through the Founder's creations. I don't know. Why did it have to be such a bad moral dilemma? I want to see my girl Zero, but also if she never comes back, technically she's all good. No bad things happen. Yay! But then I make a theory video and I'm like, hey guys, give the Founder's creations more attention. I'm a problem. I love reading the comments on these videos though. Regardless of when they're posted, I still get the notifications. So if you have any thoughts or theories, please share them. I would love to hear what you think. Literally a few days before I recorded this, Ranboo and Ed Courtois, one of the artists/writers on the Founders game and a bunch of the series graphics, were handing out these postcards at VidCon. Some of them had a QR code that linked to an unlisted video with an elevator. Looks like there's a bunker too. Zero had a dream where she fell into a concrete place, and a concrete place is where Ben wandered around like a Roomba. I don't know. Also, if anyone on the Gen Lost team watches this, which thank you for watching the other ones, Ranboo Live, that was really cool, I really appreciate it. I have one message for you. Please let Zero live, she is so cool and awesome and cool, and I love her, and I think she should kick the Founder's ass, and you shouldn't kill her off, because that would be so cringe. I mean, like, you should take this idea, it would be a really good idea to take, I'm just saying. To everyone else, thank you so much for watching this video and for making it this far. The script came out to over 23 pages single-spaced and had the most stuff I wanted to cover out of any video I've ever made. Even then, I couldn't touch on everything. Ben has become one of my favorite characters in this series, and if nothing else, play the game for him, please, because I couldn't include, like, any of his personality. Also, a huge thank you to everyone who let me use their photos in clips and every artist who let me feature their stuff. I love every artist and person in this community. You are all so cool and so sweet, and I couldn't make this without you, and I love you. Yay! And one last thing for anyone who experiences derealization, especially in response to content like this, just a reminder that generation loss is a fictional piece of media and everyone is safe. No one is being hurt by you watching or liking it. You're all good. Take some time if you need it, okay? Love ya. Take care. Do what you gotta do. You're all good.